Hello and welcome to this episode of KYP Talks with me, Sarah Burnett, your host and Chief Technology Evangelist at KYP.ai. I'm thrilled to have with me today a number of the executives of the company, and I'll be introducing them to you shortly. But before I do that, let me tell you about what we're going to talk about, and that is the important topic of trust and transparency in digital transformation mining. And of course, before we delve into that topic, we'll be talking about what it is and what it would do for your organization and why you need to know about it. So let me introduce our panel. We have Adam Bujak, who's our Chief Executive Officer and a co-founder of the company. Mirek Barteki is the Chief Technology Officer and also a co-founder of the company. Felix Hazer is in charge of customer success, and believe me, he knows a thing or two about that subject, and he'll be sharing those views with us today. And last but not least is Wojciech Zikowiak, who is in charge of our talent management and HR. Please join me in welcoming them. Let me start by asking you, Adam, perhaps you could set the scene and tell us what is digital transformation mining and why should organizations know about it and learn about it?
Digital transformation mining helps our customers to rapidly understand their abstract processes and how this balance with people and technology dimensions. Our automatically generated data-driven improvement recommendations aim to deliver the fastest possible ROI. And back to your second part, why should organizations be interested in it? Number one, we enable the future of work, unlocking new ways of working through digital augmentation of people and machines. Number two, we reveal immediate transformation opportunities, cutting out the waiting and analysis time. The initial results are visible within the first days of deployment. And last but not least, obviously it is about actionable recommendations, not just process insights. Process insights from first generation mining tools are not enough to define a digital transformation journey. Our actionable recommendations, completed with business cases, show your true potential, the effort required to get there, and obviously the achievable return on investment.
Thank you, Adam. You raised some very interesting points there, and I'm now going to turn to Mirek and ask Mirek to tell us about the product and why is it different to other technologies that are on the market today.
Thank you, Sarah. That was really good question given by the community all the time. Our unique value is that we cover three dimensions: process, people, and technology. What's the big differentiating point between ourselves and the market trends? That we do that in speed, mostly while deploying in the weeks. We do that discovering end-to-end process, and that's also a unique business value. As an example, I can take the largest shipping organization where we implemented the discovery over the ticketing process. After 5 days of data collection, we discovered that on the process graph, we seen the old system was used in the 90% and the newly deployed one only in 10%. That enforced the question, why is the status like that? Why people are not migrating to the new system, and why still the manual effort is spent on rekeying between the old and the new system. Uniqueness also comes from the technology fact that we cover the old technologies like the green screen, 3272 terminal, or telnet communication. We are able, and we've proven that with another organization, that we can see what's behind your mainframe usage, what we can improve, and what's the benefits or drawbacks of using such system. As an example, I can say that the speed of the using text terminal is enormous. The speed of entering anything through keyboard is also the fastest possible way. although the switching in between this terminal in that example and the front end built on the web application took 3 times more than in regular integration done professionally between web systems. Another angle of that is accuracy. All of the processes, all of the variants are visible. We are not neglecting any viewpoint or any steps in the process, and there is no risk that we'll omit any action. You see, like we call it spaghetti diagram with all of the actions, even if they are marginal or just one in entire 1,000 repeats. Even if we can not really use that in the first row, at least you can see with few data points after a day or two what your real process looks like.
Thank you, Mirek. You touched on some of the amazing benefits that organizations can get by using the technology. And my next question is to Felix. As head of customer success, perhaps you could tell us about the kind of scale that customers have achieved, any examples or any hints and tips that you could share with us.
Of course, Sarah, thank you very much for this question. I mean, our customer generally, I think they are fully delighted, right, of what we deliver. So I think, as Mirek said before, there are multiple dimensions of insights that we generate. I mean, they're coming from individual performance to a full automation pipeline of a full group of people, of a full team, of a full center. In the end, we derive actionable insights in real time with real-time data. And also, these insights come within days. As Mirek said before, we have done for a customer, for example, 5 days, and we already see the insights, and the customer already sees the benefit from it. So in the end, it's all about then we derive, or KYP derives recommendations, and it's all about then the customers need to implement this as well, right? I mean, otherwise there is actionable insights, but there is no benefit then concluded on the customer side. So some customers examples that I brought with me is, for example, customers improve their performance with that in terms of changing their work allocation, or they implement the automation cases that KYP proposes. Others also, they're going to find their heroes, right? I mean, we see best practices that our tool is figuring out that they then share with each others, right? So like really top performers can share their best practices with the others, and so in the end, the quality of the services is just increasing. And also some the simple process improvements that you see live in the tool, they are also there for our customers to improve, and they are picking that up and changing it while we speak, right? So they're receiving really tremendous traction within their organizations. I mean, in the end, the summary is for me that it's all about then the eagerness and the readiness to implement these changes. We can derive recommendations immediately, and then we need, together with our customers, to turn this into reality.
Thank you, Felix. I'm going to turn to the artificial intelligence aspects of the software. And of course, KYP.ai is an intelligence solution. And there's a lot of talk about ethics in AI. And I'm going to put this question to Adam and Mirek. How do we make sure that our solution is developed ethically? I don't know who would like to go first. Adam?
Let me take that one first. First of all, it is about no black box artificial intelligence. AI facilitates the cutting edge of process analysis. By giving users total control of calculation parameters, we are able to provide full transparency of decisions and recommendations, which we call explainable AI. On top of it, KYP is fully compliant with GDPR and other relevant local regulations, enabling easy execution in the complex legal environment.
Thank you, Adam. Mirek, would you like to add anything to that?
Yes, regarding to the no black box AI, we have ability to mark specific applications or URLs. They can be easily removed from the scope of data collection. We can only observe and analyze the productive work. we are able to mark the personal related data, and the end user is always able to look what's collected, what's the process behind it, and what's the outcome of that analysis. The decision-making process by our app is transparent. We have well-documented techniques behind of our pattern matching and data collection. It's also available not only for analysts, which does the process analysis, but also for end users. And last but not least, end user may decide what data are collected from the PII data perspective.
Now, this brings us to the heart of the subject that we're going to discuss today, which is trust and transparency in digital transformation mining. I'm going to put that to Wojciech. How can we make this human-centric?
Yeah, absolutely. I love this question. Thank you, Sarah. So when I think of it, I believe that the success formula consists of 3 ingredients. In other words, there's like 3 things that you need to do simultaneously in order to make it work. So the first one is to demystify, because when we think about automation, it's a dirty word of some sort, isn't it? I mean, the one that renders people anxious and hence the expression automation anxiety. So what we need to do is to demystify it. So it's about educating, saying what it is and what it isn't, creating realistic expectations, right? Because automation is supposed to make our work better. Automating what's transactional, getting the judge work out of the way, and freeing time for work with high purpose. So that's the first one, about demystification. The second element, and the second thing that you need to do, is to over-communicate. So it starts with communicating the why behind the implementation. It's about building the awareness and the desire to participate in the project rather than just informing. I would also point out here that early involvement of your key people, of your critical players, is really essential. And above all, communication isn't a one-way street. So we must let people be heard, because silence intensifies fear, and the change that is coming is in essence very positive. So why not talk about it openly? Okay, so that's the second one about communication. And last but not least, what we must do is to ensure explainability. And I think Adam has already mentioned that before. We must ensure explainability. And when I say that, what I mean is that we must ensure that we are able to explain and track every single decision that we make based on the data that we gather. It's about being able to explain how we reach certain conclusions and how these conclusions led to certain decisions on how processes are changed. And at the end of the day, how it is going to affect you as an employee, as a human being, right? So recapping, the 3 ingredients of our success formula for a human-centric implementation is the demystification, is the over-communication, and then at the end of the day, ensuring explainability. And I believe that if you start with these 3, you're on the safe side. So over to you, Sarah.
Thank you, Wojciech. Those are great recommendations, by the way, and I'd like to explore this particular topic a bit more. Felix and Wojciech, both of you, maybe you could chime in. How are our customers using the technology? Perhaps there's some examples that you could share with us. Who would like to go first?
Thank you very much, Sarah. So I think it's very obvious that the customer in the end needs to give the users a heads up on the why KYP is there and what data is collected. I think that's very obvious, and also that they communicate, as Wojciech says, over-communicate around what data is collected and what is not, especially the private data that is not collected. On the other hand side, we can anonymize a lot. That's also what Mirek said before, right? We can anonymize a lot, but customers, I mean, they rather don't want to anonymize, right? Because they want to find out the specific heroes in their organization, as I said before, and that's what you only find when you look at details on an individual basis as well. And we even go that far that we show the individual their personal dashboard, right? So that they can see what KYP is providing, not only to the full organization, but also to the individual user in the end. So in the end, everything is transparent, no ambiguity, no doubts. And that's very important. An example is, I mean, we had a customer where there was a really cumbersome process in the end. We identified automation potential, and this then the customer turned into real automation automation of a process, which then in the end freed up time for the individual for more rewarding activities, right? So employees can grow, and it's a full success story. So bottom line, there was a real improvement of the turnover of staff in the end for this customer. So they really appreciate that we have all the anonymization on the one hand side, but they also would like to go to the deepest available detail of data, which is very important for them to improve.
Thank you, Felix. Wojtek, anything you would like to add?
No, I think we're good. I think what Felix said, I agree 100%, and it's a good conclusion of this part of the conversation. So thank you, Sarah.
Okay. And that brings me to my last question directed to Adam. Adam, would you like to add any comments, anything that you would like to highlight before we wrap up?
Thank you very much, Sarah. I would close with 3 points. Number 1, KYP is very human-centric. People are at the center of our analysis and recommendations, and we focus on whom augmentation could assist, including where, when, and how it can be best deployed. Number 2, it is about end-to-end next-generation process mining. We deliver an impactful combination of people, process, and technology dimensions, securing success of your transformation. And number 3, KYP platform has been built by process automation experts. You are able to see your future and justify it with every unique recommendations in the journey, backed by a realistic business case designed by world-class process and automation experts. So concluding, the future is ours to create. We are looking forward to shaping it together with you and your teams. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And thank you to the whole of the panel. I think it's been very interesting, and there was some very important trust and transparency points that we have discussed today. Thank you to our audience for joining us today, and I very much hope you'll do so again soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.